guys, thank you very much for subscribing into my channel. People who have subscribed in before, and those of you who have not done, please do it right now. Okay? And it's very nice to see all beautiful smiling faces. You guys look amazing. I know that I'm not able to see you guys in person, but I'm sure that you guys must be smiling, and I really wish the same. Today we're going to talk something serious. Okay, we're going to talk about Aperture. I got various lenses in my table. I'm going to explain to you how Aperture is going to work in photography. This is an amazing subject, guys. You cannot wait for learning more on this. Okay, let's get down into the subject right now. Okay guys, we're back. Let's talk about Aperture right now. Okay, you see the various kinds of lenses. A couple of lenses are from old cameras. I thought it's better for me to explain you with the old camera lenses. Alright, so what's Aperture all about? Let me just explain you in terms of how your eyeball reacts during the lighting conditions. Say for that, in a very bright place, your eyeball actually shrinks to see the object which is close to you or a little far away to you. Right? So there are situations where you might get into a dark place or a relatively less light place where your eyeball actually becomes a little bigger to see what's actually there in a particular place. That's how your Aperture also works. Let me show you this particular lens which I have it on the table right now. Aperture is now completely closed. I'm just trying to show you over here. Please focus on the lens to see what I'm showing you guys. I rotate the Aperture. The Aperture starts opening in the lens. You can see this is the way the Aperture works. The amount of light which enters into the camera through the lens is what is controlled by the Aperture. Right? You call it as f numbers or f stops. It ranges from f1.4 to it ranges until 22. So when the f number is bigger, your Aperture is actually smaller. Let me show you. This is right now the Aperture is in 16. You see the hole is very small. So as I increase the Aperture, 11, 8, 5.6, 4, the Aperture is opening up completely, and the amount of light which has got into it is more. This is how the Aperture really works. These numbers are called as f-stops. You use this Aperture to determine the depth of field of a particular photograph, the image, whatever you take. Say for example, you want to take an image, particular image in focus. You want to take this lens itself in focus, right? And you don't want the background at all. These are the places where your Aperture really helps you in determining the kind of shot what you want. So let me explain you a little more on the depth of field, which will really help you in making amazing snaps the way you want it. That's more important, right? Say you have 5 objects, one after the other. Your lens has the capacity to focus one particular object at a time. Okay, but it depends on how you capture it. You want to focus only the third object, that line, and you want to make the other things blurred.
So guys, here is a wonderful picture which can explain you more on the depth of field. Right, if you look at this image which has got a very small aperture, there's a very shallow depth of field in this particular image where the first object is in focus and the other objects, there is left and one on the right, everything is blurred. Right, so this image is a good example where we can explain you how the depth of field really works in this particular context. Your lens has the capacity to focus a particular object at a distance. Right, I've just made a click of an image with a different focal point. Let me show you that image now. So yeah, here it is. So this image is, again, I've not changed the aperture. It's still 4.5 where the focal length is little differed. You see that the images on the left and the right are in focus, and the images which is in the front and in the background are blurred. Right, so this is what is depth of field, guys. So using the aperture, you can decide which particular object you wanted more in focus and make the others blurred. This is where your aperture really helps in making you beautiful pictures. There's another picture which I've taken. So this is the one. If you see, I had increased the aperture, right, which you can find that there is a very large depth of field over here. The whole image itself is in focus. You see the foreground, the background, all the objects, everything is in focus, right? So this is definitely a good example where we can explain you about how the depth of field really works, guys.
The depth of field. What happens is that particular image gets into focus and the other gets blurred. That's a very lovely. You can use this in different photographies, like close-up photographies. Just say you want to take a flower. Now you have beautifully blossom flower in a plant. and have a click and see. You will love it. You will find the details in the flower, and the others will be blurred. That's a wonderful way to take it. So these are used in portrait photography. Say you want to take a headshot of a person in an outdoor background. It's an awesome way of taking it. It'll give you a wonderful feel when you get a background blur.
This photograph is taken in a jungle safari, guys. I mean, you look at how beautiful the animal is captured with the background blurred. You can take several clicks with animal photographies and look at this rabbit. It's so awesome. You get the rabbit very much in focus and the background is so blurred. The other very tricky way to use aperture while you take it in zoo, you see that always the animals or birds will always be inside a cage in the zoo. So while you get the focal point to the animal and you reduce the aperture, right? So where your foreground, which is your cage, becomes blur, and you get the animal more in focus. So where you kind of get more detail of the animal or the bird itself.
So another example is say that you have a very scenic place, a very beautiful place you come across, and you want to capture everything, all that you see. Okay.
Here is a beautiful picture, guys, taken during the sunrise on top of the mountains. There were layers of mountains here, which we want to ensure that everything gets on the focus, right? So that's the reason why you find the aperture. We had to keep it little in a larger number. And also why there are other factors which well explained it in detail in a later use, but here I'm talking about aperture, where you have a higher aperture, and this is wonderful for landscapes. Here is another beautiful image where you see the vast area of landscape is captured, and to ensure that everything gets onto focus, we had to use a higher aperture of f13. Another beautiful landscape picture, guys. All the subject in focus, the horse, the beautiful building, and the trees behind, and the grass at the front. To have all the things in focus, here again we had to get a higher aperture number. Keep trying, guys. This is very beautiful and excellent way using your aperture. It's very, very interesting.
There's another way to remember it, guys. If this is too confusing, I'll tell you a very simple way to remember it. Just have this in mind. If you want to get more things in focus, increase your f number. If you want to get less things in focus, reduce your f number. That's it. It's that simple. You don't have to think what is a bigger f number, what is smaller f number is all about. You guys must be using digital cameras for sure. You have different modes in the camera, right?
Try out the aperture priority mode, guys. I mean, in Canon it's called the AV mode, in Nikon cameras it's called as the A mode. This gives you the leverage to define the aperture you want to set, and the other settings like your ISO, your shutter speed will be done automatically by the camera itself. You need to take photographs by this setting and see how it comes out. It must be a great experience.
So if you look at modes like landscape and portrait,
these are the modes in Canon camera, guys. You guys have to try with these modes, which will really help you. The portrait mode uses a smaller f number, and your aperture is going to be wide open and going to give you a shallow depth of field, right? So the similar way, if you go to a landscape mode, it's going to use a larger f number with a smaller aperture hole, and it's going to give you a very large depth of field. You guys must try clicking the snaps in portrait and the landscape mode and see how it works, guys. This must be a good learning experience to start with before going into the manual mode, guys.
That simple it is. Alright, all the best, guys. Let me catch you in another video soon. Keep stay tuned. Bye bye.